UFC 269 is set to feature a matchup for the flyweight title that might not have seemed all that necessary when it was first announced. Indeed, Deiveson Figueredo was doing an excellent job at establishing himself as a truly popular figurehead for the 125-pound division at that point in time. But after losing in what was a very flat showing against Brandon Moreno, it does seem as though the wind has been taken out of his sails to some extent. Now, I know that there's a lot to be said for Moreno's performance, improving on their first matchup in every way possible. That guy's career has just been one major obstacle overcome after another. Constant examples of this incredibly driven fighter's desire to improve, to subvert all expectations, even when the narrative is in the middle of forming. And I do think that Moreno came into that rematch with Figgy in better shape, with a tighter game plan, more confident of the fact that he could take Deiveson's best shots, that they weren't going to cause him to crumble like all of the rest of the flyweights beforehand. But I don't know, as much as Moreno looked like a champion in there, Figueredo looked off, and if you ask me, that harrowing weight cut down to the 125-pound championship limit and his particular difficulty in hitting it that time around seemed to be really taking its toll. He didn't stalk with the same intensity or the same confidence. Didn't take a shot that well either, and overall, I couldn't help but feel as though we were watching this guy's time as a flyweight ending before our very eyes. Because during his most vicious moments, those wins over Joseph Benavidez and his first matchup against Moreno, he brought a level of physicality to the table that just didn't have an equal at 125 pounds. The way those shots made Benavidez drop, that type of power just isn't natural at flyweight. And of course, he missed weight during his first bout with Benavidez, something that left him unable to win the title at the first time of asking. And during the UFC 263 matchup that saw him lose his belt, he arrived on the scales with moments to spare, something that brought about speculation that he had struggled shedding the weight. So again, while I do think that Moreno did a superb job in the rematch, it has been clear to me that an extension of Deiveson's days in the flyweight division would be a tough ask unless something major had changed. And I don't know if it was a case of Figgy needing to be more thorough and disciplined with his nutrition and overall weight cut, or if he's already giving it 100% and he's just simply a bit too big. Maybe it's a mix of the two. But what is clear to me is that this next outing, from Deiveson's perspective, is going to stand as a true indicator of what his prospects are, both in terms of his future within the flyweight division and his success within the UFC as a whole. Because as much as I do believe that Figueredo would be competitive within the bantamweight ranks, at 5'5", coming up against some of the more rangy customers at 135 pounds, I'm not as convinced of his merits as a champion there as I am at flyweight. On a side note, if you're enjoying this content, be sure to subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with all of our latest uploads, before leaving a comment to let YouTube's algorithms know that we are fast becoming one of the best MMA channels on the platform. And again, though I believed Moreno to be incredibly improved, there was just something different about Figueredo, something that makes him unrecognizable from the force of nature that battered Moreno in the first fight. And look, maybe part of it was mental. Maybe part of it stemmed from the fact that Moreno was still in there with him after 5 rounds. But let us not forget that round by round, before the points deduction, Figueredo won that fight 3-2, and all things considered, though Moreno stuck in there and put it on him in a way that was truly admirable, that fight was definitely more thrilling than difficult to call on the scorecards. There was just something about the way Figueredo hit the mat after Moreno caught him with a sharp jab. It was a great jab, but there was just something about the way he moved forward during that fight, like he wasn't full of the same confidence that defined his approach in that first fight. I could be wrong, but I think this Trilogy bout, this contest that wasn't necessarily the most widely requested by the fans, I think it has the potential to be something more similar to the first fight than the second. I'm a big Brandon Moreno fan, but Deiveson Figueredo, if he is not truly in a situation where he absolutely has to move up in weight, if he can make the 125-pound weight cut work for him, I do believe that he has the ability and the physicality to make this a very tough night for Moreno. Prior to losing that rematch, he was hitting levels that were very exciting, as far as the modern era at 125 pounds is concerned. And with an eye on his past issues with making weight, I do think that this upcoming matchup is absolutely crucial for setting out his next year or two within the UFC, because we know that Moreno is going to improve. We know that he's going to do everything in his power to make his first title defense a good one. His entire career has been built off of his ability to subvert our expectations, to continue to improve beyond the point that we would have considered his ceiling. And there's a part of me that understands just how good the champ is and how good he can be. But I suppose the point of this video is more about me and my inability to lose faith in Deiveson Figueredo just yet. I think the guy is a special athlete, and though we won't know until fight night, or at the very least until he steps on the scales, something tells me that this flyweight rivalry hasn't yet revealed its biggest surprise. And whether it's the champion or the contender who gets their hand raised, each of these men has been playing a major role in pushing the division into its new era, and both have made a tremendous account of themselves in recent years. The biggest question for me, though, is just how long Deiveson Figueredo can maintain a run in what I believe to be his best and an optimum weight class. Because no matter how well he does at bantamweight, if that's how things play out, his presence as the hardest hitter in the flyweight division, perhaps in flyweight history, yeah, that would definitely be missed. But how do you see this third matchup between the champion Brandon Moreno and the former champion Deiveson Figueredo playing out? And do you see a long-term future at 125 pounds for this hard-hitting Brazilian? Do let us know your opinions in the comments section below. We always love to hear from you guys. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and a comment before subscribing to the channel so you can stay up to date with all of our latest uploads. Thank you for watching.